welcome back to the fourth Total Tactics test in the YouTube video series. Today, we're going to talk about Strikerless. In FM21, I made a lot of noise building a Strikerless system. I used that system to win the CONCACAF Draft League tournament and also the first ever FM Summer Cup tournament organized by Maggio. So the same tactic won both competitions, and then Coinbird, a friend of mine on Twitch, also used the same tactic to win competitions inside the Wasted Possession draft tournament, and still, I believe, behind the scenes, although currently inactive, has the highest ever ELO score in all of PvP history, all of tracked PvP history. I think he's well over 1400, sorry, maybe 1440 or something like that, but Coinbird's total was through the roof before had to step back from the drafting scene. And almost all of those victories came with a Strikerless tactic that I designed, and then he made a few tweaks to on his own as well. So Strikerless is I have a history with it. In the beginning of FM22, I didn't think that it was still there or all that powerful this year, and so I kind of shelved it and have been working on other tactics ever since. But I think it's back. And I think it's back in a big way. And so we're going to talk about how that works when we take a look at the tactic. And before we take a look at the tactic, let's talk a little bit about the testing methodology that the Total Tactics database uses. Okay, so the Total Tactics testing database is available on our Discord. You can find a link in the description to join that Discord. It's a save game file on Football Manager 2022 that you load in. So there are 4 leagues only in the save game file, and in each league there is a manager controlling the team Napoli. Napoli is balanced in each league to roughly be in a certain tier. So you have the elite teams league, where Napoli is one of the worst teams in the league. You have the balanced league, where Napoli is in the top third. They'd be challenging for the European places, and that league has Liverpool at the top and Union Berlin down at the bottom, those kind of teams. So there's a big spectrum of teams in the balanced league. So how could Napoli do in just a regular league structure? There's also the average team leagues, where all of the teams are about the same level. And then the underdog league, where Napoli is clearly the best team in the league. So how do you do it? You just load your tactic in for each instance of Napoli, all 4 managers. You set each manager to go on vacation until Friday, May 13th, and then at the conclusion of the season, you get to look at your results, and you just simulate and vacation all 4 managers, all running your tactic, all in different circumstances. I think that it's a really balanced way to sort of approach tactic creation to see how your tactic does in a variety of situations. And we have SNG, Bust the Net, Coinbird, and Tacticality, along with myself, all to thank for the development of this database. And on the Discord server, you'll see all of us and a few other mods interacting with you on tactics that you submit to the Discord, and just, answering your questions and getting tactical advice as well throughout the various sections of the Discord. So I urge you to join, and again, the link to joining that Discord is in the description. All right, let's take a look at the tactic. All right, let's take a look at the tactic. First, I will say Strikerless is becoming a little bit more popular again, both against the AI and the PvP meta, and part of that is because of the system developed by Matt Blanco and Dr. Benji. This system is quite different than that, and hopefully you'll find it to be just as, if not more, successful. But it does, it is part of that Strikerless kind of like, I wouldn't call it a revolution, but kind of like a regrowth of Strikerless systems on FM22. And part of that is like the realization that the winter update kind of reopened this strategy that many people had maybe shelved before the winter update. Okay, so this tactic is one I've been working on for a very long time, and then put it away. But after learning about and testing Fuzzy's narrow diamond tactic, it occurred to me that some of those same ideas in a Fuzzy's tactic could maybe be applied to Strikerless systems in order to kind of, make sure that the tactic kind of comes alive again and is able to score lots of goals. Because one of the problems I found in previous Strikerless tests is pass into space just didn't work this year, and that is what was killing Strikerless. Fuzzy taught me how to make pass into space work again, and so I've applied a lot of that knowledge to this tactic. So if you look at some of the team instructions, you'll see pass into space is there with a higher tempo and a slightly shorter passing distance with a fairly narrow width. All this is pretty standard kind of instructions. Where the real benefit of Fuzzy, what I learned from Fuzzy's narrow diamond is the player instructions. Take fewer risks, shoot less often. 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 You get the drill, right? Like, all of the players are instructed to take fewer risks. So what that does is they will not pass into space if it is risky, which is the mistake that I think a lot of people made when developing Strikerless tactics, myself included, at the beginning of the cycle, is they were trying to mirror what had happened with pass into space in FM21, where you could take as many risks as you want. The ball into space would almost always be effective, and the AI was really bad at tracking shadow strikers that existed in the half space between the midfield line and the defensive line. This year, that's not as prevalent. So you do need to work the opening and warp the defense, pull players out of position so that run in behind is available. And taking less risks accomplishes that. They'll make short, simple passes around the top of the 18. They'll wait for the run. Then all of a sudden, one of these 5 players will slip behind and there will be a ball through. That ball through can come from the wingbacks. It can come from the CM attacks. It can come from one of the wide shadow strikers holding up the ball. There's a lot of options for creative passing and for through balls in the tactic, and it just scores loads of goals. One of the things I'm trying to do for this video is we're going to talk through a couple of the scoring chances that it creates so you better understand the tactic before we go through the results. So we're going to look at that now. At the start of this highlight, the inverted wingback, Di Lorenzo, has the ball here. He's got a couple options. He's got Tonali coming in with no one in his way. He could try to pass the ball into space here to Zielinski, or he could just kind of hold it up and wait for it to develop. For instance, Pacina might drop into this space as well. So we can kind of let's advance the play just a little bit more to see sort of what happens here from this sequence. So he dwells on the ball a little bit, and then it is Zielinski who has kind of drifted back. He did not use Tonali, who's playing the DM position here, as an outlet. Now, Zielinski's options again are Tonali, and maybe if he moves backwards a little bit more, he could kind of get a ball into Pacina. So let's see what happens next on the next level of the play. He does use Tonali, which opens up the pass to Pacina. And now I'll pause it here, and you can see the angle here that Pacina has to Insigne, who's the right winger here. He also has Muriel, who's about to make a run kind of off the shoulder, and you can see here the left back cornet over here is the one ruining the offside trap. But Pacina is about to play a ball through. There's all this top of the box development. You've got an umbrella of players here that are all passing options. You've got the safety outlet of the DM Tonali back here. You've got the IWBs too, sort of as safety outlets that either can hit the space here or they can back up kind of behind the referee there as well to be an outlet if all these doors closed. But the way it is working here, there's space here inside the fullback, and we'll talk about in a second why that happens. But let's go ahead and watch Insigne's finish. Lets the ball in and just slides it into the back post. An excellent finish by Insigne. So on the previous highlight, we saw the inverted wingback in possession start the play. But here's a possession that starts from a long distribution from the Burnley goalkeeper, Nick Pope. So let's see where this ball ends up on this distribution. So Pope hits it long, and we have Koulibaly stepping up to win the header from central defense and heading the ball down. A softer header could have started the play with Tonali, but it looks like this header has enough velocity on it to make it all the way through their midfield up to Muriel, which is going to be really interesting, the kind of gaps that opens up. So we'll hit play and sort of see what Muriel's options are going to be. All right, so here's Muriel on the ball. Muriel's primary option here, what looks to be, is a ball to Zelensky. There's a chance he could hit it into space and let Politano run onto it, but my guess is the safe pass here is to Zelensky. Now that would open up Zelensky's options, whether, if, depending on where Ben Mee goes, this is the Ben Mee defender, and you can notice here too, Tarkovsky has stepped way up on Muriel. So that's created a ton of space here for Insigne, but it's hard for Muriel to get Insigne the ball directly, right? So Zelensky seems like the outlet. Now, if Ben Mee overreacts to Zelensky, there's a chance for Politano to run on inside of Cornet here and get the run in on goal. There's also the possibility that Zelensky is able to get the ball past Ben Mee into this channel for Insigne to have a free run on goal, who's very clearly way inside Matt Loden, who's nowhere near being able to mark Insigne. The other option is also Muriel could play the safe ball back to Tonali, who could immediately hit the ball over the top to Insigne. That is also an option. And the final option is Muriel could exercise some flair, try to spin out of this, and actually hit Pacino, right? So there's a ton of passing options here for Muriel. Remember, ball into space, easy pass, back pass to the ball over the top, or the flare move to Pacina. I happen to know what happens, which is really interesting, but those were the options available. So obviously, what happens is the last one. You'll see a flare move from Muriel to turn around, sweep the ball into Pacina's path, and then Pacina has a wide open channel to pass this ball to Insigne through, because we've got a midfielder, Cork, and Tarkovsky double teaming Muriel. They are in no position to stop Pacina from making this pass, and what results is a great finish from Insigne. Or wait, no, not from Insigne. Sorry, Zelensky will make this run as well. Ben Mee's going to overreact to this play, and then it's actually Zelensky and the Pacina is able to find that diagonal to Zelensky as he heads in. But yeah, you'll see what I mean. So here's the flare move, and then Pacina through acres of space. Zelensky attacks it. The anticipation on Zelensky as a CM attack to smash into that gap is incredible, and that's just another play sequence that you see a lot of. All of the short, high-tempo passing, it just warps the defenders, creates infinite chances for through balls, and that's the way a lot of goals come from the system. Let's walk through one final highlight here. There's a couple things that I want to illustrate here, and one of the things is I want you to watch the hold that this tactic puts on the left-sided and right-sided fullbacks, or wingbacks, or wide players on the defense. So this ball starts with Jesus, I think is playing right inverted wingback in this game, but it could be that he's the DM and Tonali's the right midfielder. I'm not entirely sure exactly the positioning, but you'll see what I mean as we sort of start this play. So Jesus has a couple options, just two basically, or three I guess if you count hitting it all the way back for a restart with the center back, but either has a channel ball to Tonali, which seems unlikely, or just a ball recycling across the top to Elmas. So we'll see what his choice ends up being. All right, so he does turn the ball out and finds Elmas. So Elmas has risky pass here for Lozano. Lozano, though, not really in position to make this run. So I doubt that is going to be the play. And again, I've only watched this highlight once, so I'm not trying to play it coy. But he also then has this other option to play it to Zelensky, which is what I would guess is about to happen. He also might kind of dwell on the ball and turn out, and things might develop differently, and we'll see. No, so he does turn out a little bit, but Pacina makes a run towards the ball, which is a good play. But also you can see here now too, the fullbacks don't collapse. One of the reasons for that is because in the match engine, even if you tell your fullbacks to play narrow, they will stay wide if there's the chance of a wide run. So Romani, Tonali, the people on the edge of the formation here, are not instructed to make runs down this wide channel. But the defenders have to play them as though they could. So they won't collapse because they don't want to leave Rahmani way. This might have been off a throw-in. I'm trying to figure out why the center back is here on the right and why I'm on the left and why Tonali's here on the right. But either way, the positions they're in to the player, it doesn't matter, right? Like the defenders are defending a run that could come that will never come, because even your fullbacks are not instructed to make those attacking runs into the box or into the to the byline or whatever. So, but the fullbacks have to defend it as though it could. So they will stay wide, which leaves a lot of gaps and openings between their midfield 2 and 2 center backs, or their midfield 3 and 2 center backs, is that you don't have the fullbacks pinching in soon enough to stop the kind of plays that the tactic generates. So we'll see what Pacina does here. Pacina, again, doesn't feel comfortable with any openings, so it plays it back to Zielinski. But now again here, right, like there's a hold on this player. This defender should be tighter, right? But Rahmani is keeping them honest. This defender, again, is held by Tonali here out wide, like playing as though this run could come. But basically, look, they're just doing nothing. They're doing absolutely nothing. Instead, we have our 5 players against their 6 in the middle, but, you know, they're flat-footed. We have instructions on where to run and the kind of movement that the tactic desires. So we'll see what happens from Zielinski here. Pauses again, finds Elmas, Lozano, and then there's the through ball finally, right? So all the passing around the top of the box just continues to force the opposition into spinning around, watching the play. They caught flat-footed. They can't make like a close down run towards the ball because the players are passing it so quickly. And then the through ball is there. Muriel's onto it in a flash, and they score. So the goal, less important as the like illustration that the fullbacks do not help on defense because our wide players are holding them in their position. And that is one of the key to the narrow play on this match engine, and one of the keys to this strikerless tactic. And finally, let's take a look at some of the results from this test of the Void 4330 strikerless tactic. So we start at the Elite League, and the result here is just promising, is what I would say. 51 points, more wins than losses, and a positive goal difference, down in 5th. I don't know the best way to improve the elite team results other than maybe it's a little bit of variance. Maybe you could expect a slightly better performance. But I think for most of you, in your regular saves, this is good enough, right? Like every game's not going to be against the top 4 in your division, but every game is against a top 4 side in this league, and we came out ahead, right? We had more wins than losses. If some of these draws turn into wins, then all of a sudden you start to see a much better result, and that's really all you need to win your league, is to do better than average against the top 4 teams. In the expanded league table, the tactic did generate 67 goals scored, which was 3rd in the division, but it did concede 60, which is a little bit concerning in the elite team league. But I think the other results tend to balance that out. So if we look at the balanced league, which is meant to mirror, right, of actual season, you've got Madrid here, you've got like Leicester, Lazio, but you've also got Augsburg, Union Berlin, Benfica. So you have some mid-table sides and some top sides. And here we finished 2nd on 82 points, which is a huge result. This is a great finish in the balanced league. The only reason it didn't win with 82 points is because Liverpool just went off. There's nothing you can do about that, right? If you look at your tactic and you see 82 points plus 54 goal difference, 89 goals scored, only 35 allowed in the balanced league, you have an excellent tactic, whether or not you won the title or not. So the balanced results are very encouraging. In the average teams league, again, plus 39 goal difference, 75 goals scored, 36 against. Winning the average league is a really good place to be because it means you're beating all the other teams in a regular division, like in your saves. You're beating all the other teams that are competing with you for Europe, for European places. Just maybe not the teams that are competing for the title, but you're beating all them handily, which is one of the keys to winning a title in your saves. So the average teams league is also like in a great shape for you. And then finally, in the underdogs league, again, a predictably dominating performance, 30 wins from 36, 94 points, only 27 allowed, 97 scored for a plus 70 goal difference, easily clears every benchmark of a great tactic using the underdog league as the methodology. So like, To sum things up, do I think Strikerless is as good as it was in FM21? No, I don't. I don't think it's as good, but I do think it is very good and a very useful tool. You do not need to play a striker. You do not need to play wide players, right? We've got those inverted wingbacks creating a high-wide hold on the fullbacks, which means those AMCs are often 3-on-2 against 2 center backs. You've got those CM attacks attacking as well into those spaces and really pinning back the midfielders of the opposition. Lots of tactical options and lots of different passages of play, and I think those highlights that we looked at did a really good job of showing you the kind of goals that you can expect from this kind of tactic. So that'll be it for today's tactic test. I hope you enjoyed it. Next week, I think we're going to look at a 5 at the back tactic for the first time. So episode 5 is going to be a little bit different and try to take a look at 5 defenders and see what we can do in terms of working a quality test result from that kind of environment. So thanks again for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the video, and click that little notification bell to make sure that you get notified of all the future videos. I've been really pleased with the growth of the channel so far, and that's all due to the support of you, the YouTube community, and as well as the people on Twitch. Follow my Twitch channel as well. The link is in the description, and I will see you next time.